You ever wonder quietly what really happens after death? Ever get that tingle when you think about the unknown, about the big journey all of us will eventually take? If you're here, maybe your age has brought this question close to your heart. Maybe time, with all its kindness and surprises, has made you look back at what you built and forward to what you still don't know. No matter how long we've lived, that doubt never leaves us completely. Is there something on the other side? What's waiting for us over there? Today we're going to explore these deep, universal questions together, guided by rare, almost secret stories from someone who spent his life investigating what happens after the last breath. Edgar Cayce, the medium known as the Sleeping Prophet. His messages, far from being dogmatic or full of easy promises, invite us to find relief, hope, and a way to make peace with the idea of death. Get ready for a journey of discovery, comfort, and maybe even a new piece about what it means to go. Before we get started, I ask you, if this conversation makes sense to you, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your questions or stories in the comments. Your participation helps build a community of support and welcome for those who feel, think, and search for answers just like you. Few people know, but a rare interview recently came to light, a recording kept for decades in the archives of a small library in rural America. It's a forgotten, sealed document that has only now been transcribed and translated. In it, Edgar Cayce described in details never before revealed what happens at the very moment of death, and most importantly, what awaits us in the minutes, hours, and days after that mysterious instant. Ever wonder why this information stayed hidden for so long? Was it too controversial? Too threatening? Or maybe just too hard for our minds to handle? The fact is, according to scholars, this material was kept secret because it brings a view that neither scares nor promises miracles. It welcomes, comforts, and inspires a fresh look at the end of life. Today, for the first time, we're revealing the main messages from this interview. Get ready for clear answers, no beating around the bush, and some truths that might turn your fear into peace. Edgar Cayce described the moment of death not as a sudden break, but as a gentle wake-up call. Imagine closing your tired eyes at the end of a long day and suddenly feeling an incredible lightness, like an old weight being lifted off your shoulders. According to Cayce, the soul realizes it's separating from the body with complete clarity, without pain, confusion, or suffering. There's no darkness or abyss. There's a moment of clarity, of understanding. Many of the stories Cayce examined talk about a peace so powerful that it's hard to put into words. Life doesn't just end, it transforms. The fear of the unknown gives way to a calm curiosity. And for those hearing this for the first time, the relief is immediate. You don't need to fear the moment of goodbye. The process is natural and supported. It's not punishment, a fall, or emptiness. It's the start of an incredible journey, guided by a loving intelligence that recognizes and welcomes us. Have you ever imagined saying goodbye to life like that, consciously, feeling safe and guided? Cayce assures us that this is the natural destiny for every human being, regardless of belief or religion. Maybe the biggest worry as we grow older isn't death itself, but loneliness. What Cayce reveals is deeply moving. Right after the soul leaves the body, it's greeted by familiar, loved faces, friends from other journeys, parents, siblings, companions who passed on before. The reunion isn't about appearances, but about feelings. It's the long-awaited embrace recognized instantly, not through the eyes, but by the heart. Think about that dear person you miss every day. Imagine the real possibility of a reunion, a familiar smile, a conversation where you never got a chance to say goodbye. Cayce describes that moment as one of the greatest comforts during this passage. No one arrives alone. On the other side, there's no forgetting or permanent separation. Love remains the bond, the key to reuniting. When fear melts away and you start looking forward to seeing your loved ones again, even the idea of an ending changes. What once seemed sad becomes a promise of continuity. What was once a farewell turns into a reunion. Now imagine the moment right after that reunion. Cayce explains that the soul goes through a kind of life review. But contrary to what many fear, there's no tribunal, judges, or condemnation. There's no divine punishment, nor a list of sins carved in stone. What happens is a deep dive into every experience, a reliving of emotions and choices, but seen in a new light without shame or fear. It's like flipping through a photo album, revisiting moments of joy and sadness, mistakes and achievements, all with complete understanding. The soul wants to understand, not to blame itself. Why did I do that? How did I feel? What did I learn? The questions aren't there to judge, but to enlighten. Cayce says that many people, when going through this review, feel a wave of compassion for themselves and for others. It's a process of self-discovery, where the purpose isn't to punish, but to grow. This account shatters the old idea of heaven and hell. There isn't a fixed, frozen destination. There's evolution, movement, and learning. Every life is a school, and the review is the moment to figure out what's left, what's missing, what needs healing. For many, this perspective is liberating. After all, who hasn't wished to be accepted even when they made mistakes? Who hasn't wanted a second chance to understand their own path? One of the most fascinating insights from Cayce is about time on the other side. Unlike the clock that governs our world here, spiritual time is non-linear. There's no rush or waiting. The soul doesn't feel boredom or anxiety. Learning goes on, but without the burden of hours or years. It's as if everything is happening in the now, but with infinite depth. In this state, the soul grows, learns, and helps those still here. There's no feeling of being late or missing your chance. Often, people report a warmth in the chest, a sudden reminder of someone dear who's passed. Could that be a small sign, a subtle touch from the other side? Cayce suggests that it might be. Communication between dimensions occurs through feeling, intention, and love. If you miss someone, if you pray sincerely, you're part of that mysterious exchange. This idea of time invites us to live in the present without so much pressure. Enjoy your encounters, forgive the missed connections, and remember that it's never really too late. If there's no clock on the other side, maybe we can ease the pressure on our shoulders while we're still here. Evolution never stops. Love is timeless. With all these revelations, a practical question comes up. What really matters? Cayce is clear when he says that for the soul, it's not about possessions, titles, degrees, or social status. What really counts and what lightens our load are our feelings, intentions, and genuine gestures. The forgiveness you offer, the gratitude you express, that old weight finally letting go. That's why it doesn't matter your age. It's never too late to take care of what truly matters. Forgive those who hurt you. Say you're sorry. Thank those who stood by your side. You don't have to wait for that final moment to make peace with the past and create room for lightness. Cayce advises, do whatever you can today, even if it's just in thought. Often, a simple heartfelt gesture is enough to change the journey. This inner preparation doesn't follow strict rules or require grand rituals. It's a movement of the heart, an invitation to be honest with yourself. If you feel there are still loose ends, don't wait. A word, a phone call, a look, these small acts build the bridge for the big journey. And above all, love is what guides us from beginning to end. Maybe you're listening and thinking, but what if I don't believe in any of this? Or perhaps you're around someone skeptical, someone who doubts any stories about the beyond. Interestingly, Edgar Cayce was very upfront about this kind of doubt. You don't have to believe in life after death to go through this process. What he describes happens whether you believe or not. The journey doesn't depend on faith, but on the nature of being. However, Cayce points out that the experience can be very different. If someone leaves filled with fear, resistance, or denial, the process might seem more confusing or drawn out until acceptance sets in. On the other hand, if someone departs in peace, with an open heart, the passage is smoother, more welcoming, and understanding. It isn't about punishment or reward. It's just the difference between letting go and fighting the current. That's why talking about this topic, especially with our elders, relatives, friends, is so important. Discussing our fears, doubts, and even skepticism brings relief, builds closeness, and makes us feel more human. Creating a space for questions, confidences, to listen and be heard. After all, we're all going to cross that portal eventually, regardless of what we believe. And the more natural and open our dialogue, the lighter life becomes. There's a recurring thought, especially among older folks. My life was too simple. Did I really fulfill any purpose? Cayce answers this worry with one of the most beautiful, comforting messages in all his work. Every life matters. It doesn't matter if you were famous, if you built monuments, or if you simply devoted yourself to raising children, grandchildren, or just lived an honest life. He says that on the spiritual plane, the roles we might see as small here are often the most important. A grandmother's care, a father's advice, a friend's shoulder to lean on, honest work. These simple gestures build invisible bonds of love and evolution. You don't have to have achieved great feats to have lived fully. The meaning is found in the little actions, in the quiet legacy left in people's hearts. Cayce even goes further. He says that the feeling of a mission fulfilled, of deep peace, comes exactly from that understanding. The soul realizes that every act of kindness, every challenge overcome, every choice made out of love adds up on the path of evolution. Every life has value, and no one leaves without leaving their mark. There are no useless lives or wasted journeys. The greatest meaning often lies in the simple moments of everyday life. We've reached the end of this conversation, but maybe it's the beginning of a new way of looking at life and death. Putting together everything Cayce revealed, we see that death isn't an end, it's a continuation. A return home, a reunion, a chance for growth and understanding. Fear fades when we realize that no one crosses over alone. No one is condemned with eternal punishments. No one is forgotten. And if there's any secret to making that passage with peace, Cayce says it's gratitude. Be thankful for what you've lived, for what you learned, for the people who loved you, and even for the challenges that helped you grow. Gratitude is the subtle passport to a lighter journey, to the sweetest reunion, to that deep sense of belonging we all crave. If this message touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment sharing what you feel when you think about life after death. Do you have a story or a question you'd like to share? Your participation could help welcome and inspire others searching for answers and comfort. Remember, you're not alone. Love is the eternal bond, and life, whether here or beyond, is always an invitation to hope. Breathe deeply with me. Let yourself now feel what has been echoing in your heart throughout this journey. Maybe you thought of someone dear who's passed on. Maybe you felt nostalgia, fear, or even relief and hope. All of this is part of being human. Edgar Cayce's powerful message, which has traveled decades to reach us, is that life goes on and love is never lost. The mystery of death, which has so often scared us, can become an invitation to make peace with our own existence. We can look back with gratitude, live the present with ease, and face the future with less dread. If there's one thing we can do today, it's to turn the time we have into small bridges of affection gestures, of forgiveness, genuine smiles, and words of care. We don't need to wait until the last day to say thank you, to hug, to settle a tiny misunderstanding, or to leave our mark on the world. Every life, every story, every goodbye forms part of an invisible network where love is always the common thread. According to Cayce, death doesn't take anything from us. It just brings us back to what truly matters. If this video touched your soul, share it with someone who needs comfort, a kind word, a bit of hope. Like, subscribe, and comment. Together we can create a space where no one has to face the unknown alone. Your experience, your question, your story might be the guiding light for someone else. And remember, it doesn't matter what path you take, what time it is, or what you believe. What unites us is the certainty that, at some point, we will all meet again, and that reunion will always be filled with the warmth of having loved and been loved. May gratitude be your passport, may peace be your guide, and may the knowledge that no one crosses over alone be your deepest comfort. Thank you so much for being here. See you soon in other conversations, in other encounters, on the endless journey of love that never dies.